Taxpayers across the state of Illinois and taxpayers in Chicago have spent tens of millions of dollars just to house migrants, let alone the more than $500 million that's lined up in the state budget that started July 1st to pay for undocumented migrants' health care in the state of Illinois. And obviously this is a big ticket item, but these are individuals who are in this country, some coming here seeking asylum, others may not. But either way, they came across the southern U.S. border, were put on buses, and have traveled to Chicago and sanctuary cities across the country. What exactly is a sanctuary city, and what's going to happen next with the Chicago migrants? Here's a hint. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, he talked about this earlier this month in a Q&A that he had with members of the press, and here's some of what he had to say was his plan when it comes to, are they going to be moving to the suburbs?
Well, we're already partnering with the county. Obviously, the county is providing, if it's not obvious, the county is providing critical healthcare related services. We've had conversations with mayors across not just Cook County, but the surrounding counties. We have had tremendous feedback, and we see some real support on the horizon. I've had meetings with our congressional delegation. Many of these steps have not been taken prior to us arriving. And so working with the state, working with federal government, working with county government, talking to individuals that I have relationships with as a result of my time as a Cook County Commissioner, giving these individual leaders some reflection and some template and model of how they can help stand up the type of support that's going to be needed. And the feedback has been quite positive. So I'm looking forward in the days to come that these collaborative efforts that we have been organizing around will begin to see some dynamic come to fruition.
So that was again earlier this month with Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson answering questions and whether or not we're going to see some of these migrants move to the suburbs. And we had some reporting yesterday calling around all kinds of suburban mayors. Didn't really hear much back as to what exactly their sentiments are on this. But the issue of the migrants also very impactful for Chicago police. You have police union president John Catanzara on a YouTube video talk about this just about a day or so ago, where he said, listen, this is a problem for Chicago police because these migrants are staying at Chicago police stations, and that's a work hazard, he said, for a variety of reasons. So here's John Catanzara saying that they're going to take the city of Chicago to task to try to address this because it's not sustainable.
So the migrant bus, that was a big thing, a lot of hubbub and concern about it, and rightly so. When a 3-year-old dies mysteriously on a bus on their way to Chicago and the bus continues and drops off migrants, we've been trying to get information from the department, and unfortunately they don't have much information yet either on the cause of death of this 3-year-old. But it really highlights the seriousness of the exposure that our members are subjected to day in and day out. This process needs to stop. All of these migrants need to be sent and housed somewhere else other than police stations. It is an overcrowded safety, not to mention biohazard issue for our membership. It's just one thing after another. This city just doesn't care. I hope it changes soon. We're not going to give up. We have tried many different avenues, from complaints to OSHA and even appeals to OSHA after the original denial, and nothing. Nobody seems to think that this is a workplace concern. We're going to keep exploring every avenue possible to force the city, if we have to stop this practice from continuing.
So again, is it a workplace issue? Is it a safety issue? Regardless, you've got police stations that have migrants living in them, and John Catanzara with the police union saying that something has to give here. 217-629-7970. That's the phone number. Of course, we'll take your calls live and local, even if you're not here in Springfield. I know a lot of people listening and watching online. So good morning. You're on WMAY. What's up?
Good morning, Mr. Bishop. I'm watching your YouTube channel, and I think it's time to say that whatever the Democrats are doing, this is not part of the United States of America. This is a new country they're trying to build. They don't want people to own guns. They don't want people to have free speech. We're watching something happening to the United States that has not happened ever in history, and that's another force trying to just become another country on the property that is the United States of America. Can we just say that and let's get on with it? These people are un-American, purely and simply un-American, and they're using the court system as weapons, just like they're being charged. And we just need to say, you know what? Let's just be honest and say, you're no longer part of the United States of America. You're creating something different, and let's move on and see who wins when we all be honest about it.
So are you talking about that movement that we've talked about before? It's been a while since we've talked about it in Illinois, splitting the state in two and letting Chicago be its own state? Or what are you intimating here, that we have some kind of national divorce from these large urban centers that are driven by Democrat policies and politics?
No, I'm saying that's a perfect way of putting it. We are watching a divorce from the historic United States of America and the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, which has driven this country for 200 and some odd years. Now the Democratic Party wants something different. They want another country. They want something new. And it's not urban centers, because there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands, if not millions, of patriots in the urban setting. This is a movement of a political movement. I don't want to put a Marxist tag on it or something goofy. I just want to say these are people with a different idea for a country on the property, on the land that is the United States of America. And we need to just stand and say, let's have a debate on this. Let's call it out. Let's define it. Let's have a discussion and let people decide. Do you want a Constitution of the United States, or do you want this banana republic garbage we're seeing with the Democratic Party? Now they're going to go after every single gun store. They've already tried to put gun stores out of business. Now they're trying to put every gun out of homes. They're trying to now sue people into oblivion. It's clear.
All the while, you've got the governor signing that measure that allows non-citizens to become police officers, and people pointing out on social media that, you know, a law-abiding citizen's not allowed to buy an AR-15, but you have a non-citizen who may have a work visa and able to, you know, get a firearm if they pass all the requirements there for citizenship status or whatever the case may be. They'll be able to have AR-15. So, yeah, there's a lot going on there. I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
It's Springfield's Morning News on WMAY. We'll take some calls coming up leading up to the top of the hour, so get those in, but stand by. All right. Well, just a few minutes left this hour. If you want to chime in, 217-629-7970. Sun is up, and looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day. Going to be heading a couple of places. They got a Joint Committee on Administrative Rules hearing today at the Illinois State House. Thing is, though, even though it's scheduled for a certain time, they typically don't start for like an hour and a half after the scheduled start time. But then that could eat into me getting out to the state fair to cover the Governor's Day rally on the director's lawn at the Illinois State Fairgrounds. So I gotta try to be at two places at once. We'll see if we can pull that off. But of course, that's going on today with Governor's Day, and tomorrow you've got Republican Day at the Illinois State Fair. So all of that going on, of course. I'm thinking it's really going to be kind of the opening messages of each party heading into the 2024 election. Now, of course, we'll have another state fair before the 2024 election, and that's really where you're going to see things solidify. But I think the messages you'll hear from the Democrats' breakfast this morning and the Governor's Day event at the State Fair really is going to be, I'm just speculating, the messaging that the Democrats are going to be advancing in the next year. Now, some of that includes, and as the previous caller, he talked about how, those in the majority party in Illinois seem to have a different idea of what this country should be than what, say, maybe some more traditional ideas and concepts of this constitutional republic we live in, where we've got 50 mini democracies in an experiment testing out their own things, right? What's working, what's not working. You hear all the time the red state, blue state arguments. Red states seem to have more business-friendly environments, while blue states look to try to, raise more taxes for social welfare programs. That's just one component. But you've also got this component now that I think is being forced into the political conversation about how to deal with migrants, but also how to deal with firearms and other things that traditionally we see as constitutional, God-given liberties. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out in the next 13 months heading into November of 2024. And today in Illinois, we could hear at least the Democrats messaging as to what they're going to advance for the next 13 months heading into the election. All right, stay tuned at 7 o'clock.
From the Fly SPI Studios.